All right, so we're going to watch two clips from the Herd and First Things First because there's a lot of doubt around the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love. And I came across these two clips and I really wanted to put them together because it seems like people are already getting a little antsy about Jordan Love. And was it just those last 10 games of last season? Was that a fluke? And so here we have Colin Cowherd and J-Mac talking about it, as well as on First Things First. So let's take a listen. We'll go through the clips and we'll talk about why it's complete nonsense. But let's get to it.
Line News.
All right, you remember last week, Jordan Love down 28-0 to the Vikings. He ended up throwing the ball 54 times, Colin, in his first game back from an MCL injury. Love did set career highs in completions, attempts, passing yards, and touchdowns. LaFleur says the work was good for Love in his return.
It looks like he's just getting back into the groove. And like I mentioned the other day, I mean, not that we want to throw 50 some odd times in the game, but I thought the more we threw, the better he got.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to stay away from the Rams.
Same.
Packers. I'm going to stay away. I believe what we saw in the first half against the Vikings hasn't played enough yet against the great defensive coordinator. And the second half was, okay, Jordan's getting his reps. He's ready to go. My gut feeling is the Packers are going to come out here to Los Angeles, and you're going to see more of the second half Jordan Love. Now, Christian Watson is banged up. The young kid, I think it's Wicks, not playing particularly well. So the receiving core isn't quite what it needs to be, but a lot of this is he just did not get the reps. He's working his way into form. I think this is the last game where the Packers will feel a little vulnerable, and then I think they're going to get on their way and start reeling off winning streaks.
We'll see. Actually, Wicks was good. It was Romeo Doubs who he didn't do anything. Wicks had 2 touchdowns. He looks like he might be their number one now with Watson out.
Yes.
The Rams injury report is getting better, but I'm with you. I don't get this game. I do know the last time we saw the Packers on a fast surface was that Cowboys playoff game. And Jaden Reed in space is just, the Rams secondary is not very good.
It's not.
So I don't know what to do with this game, but I'm curious about the Packers defense, Colin. If Sam Darnold could carve them up,
well, he
what's
carved
Matt
them up.
Stafford gonna
He
do?
carved them up in the first half. A lot of that's on script. They got up to a huge lead.
No,
that was a tale of two
McVay
games.
and Stafford. Who has a coach-quarterback advantage here?
Well, but remember, no Puka and Cooper Kupp. You had a Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson was insane against Green Bay. Absolutely insane. So there's. You're talking about now the Rams. Yeah, they're at home. That crowd will be 60-40 Packer fans.
Maybe more.
It could be 70-30 Packer fans. Yeah. And, Wisconsin travels for bowl games, and they travel for the Packers. So my take is don't compare Minnesota is one of the deepest offensive teams in this league. Remember before the season, we both said if they finish fourth, it will be the greatest offensive personnel in league history to finish fourth. And they're not going to finish fourth.
No.
So I think this is actually a low-scoring game. I don't.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. I'm going to play the other clip as well because I want you guys to get a feeling for all of this doubt and confusion around the Green Bay Packers. I don't have doubt. I don't have confusion. People just love to overreact week to week to week, right? When they had back, when Jordan Love went down, it was the season's over, they're done, punt the season. And then when they win a couple games with Malik, it's, oh my God, this is amazing. The Green Bay Packers are going to win the Super Bowl. Just wait until Jordan Love gets back. Jordan Love comes back. It's his second game, first game from the injury. Still very rusty, not only from the injury, but then also from just the long off season because he only had the one game. And then people are just like, I don't know, this didn't look too good. This is pretty bad. And I'll show you what Mangini has to say on First Things First. But it's just one of those things where there's so much swing. So I'll play the next clip and then we can talk about it. But Mangini is putting Jordan Love on the infamous Bud list.
But I am going to add one to this and piggyback a little bit on your Jets take with the guy who took over for him, and Jordan Love. And here's something that I talk about all the time. When a guy gets a new contract, there's a lot of pressure that comes with that new contract. And oftentimes they want to justify the money and do things differently than what got them to where they were. And we saw that to some degree with Jalen Hurts last year. So you got to be able to work through the money. And with Jordan, he hit it just right. They were wallowing through the first part of the season, and then he got red hot in terms of interceptions or touchdowns to interceptions, the success they had in the playoffs, and so then he got paid. And then since he's gotten paid, and he got I think it was $220 million, since he's gotten paid, it hasn't been very good. So let's take a look at
2 games.
his final 10 games, okay, the previous 10 games, including the playoffs, where he's 7-3, 69% completion, 23-3 TD to interception, 112 quarterback rating, and this is where he is this season. It's so dramatically different in every single category, and he's got to justify the money that he had, not by being somebody different, but just being that guy that he was towards the end of the season. No organization wants your quarterback rating to be only 4 points higher than the money they gave you just this season in $79 million.
Fair. That's fair.
Can I jump in for a second? Coach, what does your bar say there? You came up with that?
I had to look up fame.
All right, well, now they're just laughing about the statement. Okay. About I want to know what love is. But okay. This is kind of crazy to me, okay? Because they're like, since he got paid, he hasn't looked that good. It's 2 games. The one game was week 1, where almost every quarterback, except for a couple, were noticeably rusty, were noticeably not great. Jordan Love and the Packers played on a ridiculously slippery field, and Jordan Love, in a lot of ways, did enough to beat the Eagles, but they just couldn't get the job done. I mean, they put up points. Jordan Love, it's not like he played terrible. It's not like he played awful. Again, it wasn't perfect. He had some issues, but just like every single quarterback virtually in week 1, except for essentially Josh Allen and Derek Carr. And now look what those 2 quarterbacks have done. Now you take it to the second game, which again, he was able to build off exactly 0 momentum from week 1 because of the injury. He had to immediately get it all shut down. It completely got in the way because, again, we know all players have to kind of get into shape, both physically as well as mentally, as well as just, mechanically, just everything. It's just different. Game speed is just different than practice. All that momentum lost. This first game that he played versus the Minnesota Vikings may as well have just been another week 1 game. Because anything that he learned, any experience that he learned from week 1 really just went out the door because there was no way for him to kind of build off of it, for him to marinate in it, because he immediately got injured and then had to be immediately shut down. And so now he's playing this next game, his first game with his injury, and for the first part of it, he has to feel comfortable. He has to begin to re-trust his knee. You could see there was a moment he went down, he kind of starts touching it for a second. It's in his mind and his head. This isn't a tale of him getting paid and now he's trying to do too much. That's not the case here. I don't believe that for a second. This is where Jordan Love is going to be. Jordan Love is going to sling it. Jordan Love is going to do work. He's going to try to push the ball down the field. He's going to try to be magical. He's going to have some turnovers, right? Like he's just going to try to make something out of nothing a lot. Jordan Love is going to prove to be a great top level quarterback. And with that, which again, we see Josh Allen do. We see Lamar Jackson do. We see Joe Burrow. We see Patrick Mahomes. We see all these great quarterbacks do the same thing. So I think it's not fair to single this out. Do you want to say, hey, you know what? I want to see Jordan Love kind of get some momentum this season? Totally agree with that. And the Packers, therefore. But is it like, hey, those first 2 games weren't good enough. This next game, man, he's got to show out. It's like, again, put everything in context right now. Week 1 was a bizarre scenario in Brazil. He got injured. Week 2, his second game was weeks after his first game. Not able to really practice in the way that he would want because he was too busy rehabbing his knee and learning how to retrust it. So he wasn't even able to really practice for the weeks leading up to this game as much as he normally would. You're going up against the top defense of the Minnesota Vikings, a divisional rival who now also knows the Packers and knows Jordan Love pretty well, so they're going to play them pretty well. Right? And then they were down by a lot because their defense got picked apart for the most part by the Packers. And now some of Jordan Love's, clearly some of the offensive approach was just, hey man, just cut it loose. Let's just go. Right? I don't care if it's a touchdown, an interception, or a first down. Just let it go, man. I mean, that was really what it was. It turned, like I said the other day, it turned into backyard football for that offense. And whether that was intentional or unintentional doesn't really matter, but that explains why you have some of these stats. Jordan Love wasn't looking to be a surgeon in that game in that second half, right? At least not in the beginning, not until it's maybe started to get a little bit closer. But it was really just like, I'm cutting this loose, man. Like I said, it's going to be a big play. It's either going to be a touchdown or not. I got to just throw our way back into this game. And he did. He did. So it did happen. So I just don't think it's ever fair to use a 1 or 2 game or even an even 3 game sample size to be like, see, look at this. This isn't good. And it's too small of a sample size that I don't think it really needs to be highlighted. Again, it's one thing if he wasn't injured, right? It's one thing if this was just these 2 games or even just the first 4 games of the season and these were similar to his numbers. And then you would say, okay, what's going on? Is he trying to do too much? His completion percentage is down. He has more turnovers than he did. Passer rating's lower, right? Like then we could have this discussion. But I just don't think it's fair to kind of highlight this in the way that it's being highlighted personally. I just think it's a bridge too far to me. Give the guy a second to get comfortable this season, to feel healthy, right? To be able to actually prepare for a game properly, right? Like let's just relax, all right? Let's just relax. It's going to be okay. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love? Do you think he's trying to do too much? Do you think this is a concerning that he's 0-2 this season and those are the stats? Or do you think, nah, relax? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.